Drum roll. All right, so everyone wants to know what's the best framework for creative at cold, top of funnel, first touch, whatever your initial entry point is for new customers, because that's what we want. So this is a culmination of about 10 million in spend per month on top performing UGC frameworks across some of the best brands in the space. Now I'm going to focus on one demographic, which is a huge, I think it's the most active buyer, the best buyer, right? We all know. So let's jump into what that looks like and then action it. So the first part is this. If you've gone through anything with creative frameworking or understanding, you're going to know this. If not, let me drop my face and let's jump in. All right, so this is creative in the funnel in 24. This is really, it's not getting away from top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom, but how you think about those is not the same, right? Top of funnel is not this perfect pixel tracked place and it's remarketed perfectly. It's all blended. So the best way to understand this is what is the objective of that creative and what does it do at first touch? The first is awareness, right? If no one knows you exist, they will never buy your product. That could be cold, that could be top of funnel, but in terms of creative, it should strictly be awareness. What the ads do in this space is make consumers aware. Now, there's a percentage of people that will buy at awareness, but the majority of people need multi-touch, as we all know. We've been down this road. Then the next category goes into like problem solution, and then it goes into like objection, product awareness, repurchase loyalty. There's a whole segment here within this of ad creative. What we're focusing on this and for this is for this awareness, problem solution, creative and what performs best. So let's go down and let's look at, actually I'm going to skip over that part. Let's look at the most impactful creative for new customers, just based on the numbers. User-generated content, as we've all known, does really well. But now, just looking at the numbers, it does much better by 1 to 2% on average higher click-through than standard product ads. Now, I'm not talking crappy standard product ads, but I'm talking about your product spinning with flashing background, where it's still mostly your product, and a standard product. A static product ad, it does substantially better. Second, it's scroll stopping. Like our thumb stop rate on UGC can be as high as like 48%. So that means 48% of people are going to stop for at least a millisecond and look. And we categorize this by the thumb. Like the thumb is scrolling and it's going down. If it stops in the scroll, like breaks the scroll, like take your thumb and like stop moving it for a millisecond, that's a thumb stop, right? We need thumb stop so we can have someone actually look at our ad to then consider clicking the ad. It starts there. Now, the biggest thing out of this is there is a clear framework for success, but it is a process. It is not something that's just like, oh, I'm going to say these magic words and this is the magic golden, bullet and everything's going to work. It's not like that. There's a process. Now, with that, let's come up here because this is an important concept that people just don't get. Conversion ads and high CTR click-through rate ads are not always correlated. What does that mean? That means if I have a high CTR, high click-through rate based on how many people are presented the ad, that doesn't mean I'm going to get a high ROAS, right? And people are just flabbergasted by that concept. But here's an example, and I see it in every single brand. A static product feature, a static product ad traditionally has much higher return because it's strictly focused on here's our reason to buy this. It has a much higher return, but it has a lower click-through rate. Why? Because if you put it in front of everybody, not everyone is going to, I don't know about this brand product. You haven't sold me on a problem solution. You haven't sold me on awareness. I don't know what this is. I'm not going to click this. But those who have been exposed to that, those who have awareness to that, or those who we're hitting with all of the concepts of our product or realize the solution benefit without having to go into it, will click and buy. But what does this mean for you? If you assume everyone knows they need your solution, and this is colostrum, if everyone knows they need your solution, yeah, you're going to get a good click-through return and buy. But not everyone does. Not everyone knows they need this. Not everyone even understands what this is, which is why you have such a low CTR. Should it be in your arsenal of creative? 100%. Should it be the sole thing in your creative? No. Because with that, you're going to spend a ton of money here, and they're not going to get enough people in your funnel. And everyone's like, oh, but the ROAS is so great. That's only because it's done in conjunction with high CTR ads. That's it. If you didn't have high CTR ads, this would probably be like a 0.5. it would just drop down. Unless there's this magical thing and it's like pizza and everyone knows what pizza is and people just want really great pizza. Problem with pizza is there's a million people selling pizza. So all that being said, these are not correlated. Here's the comparison. This is a user-generated content. And the item that I didn't put in here, which is thumb stop, a thumb stop on this is typically like 5%, like really 5 to 10%, really low because no one knows what it is. Thumb stop here can get up to 48%. That means almost half of everyone that's scrolling through is going to at least stop and consider two things. Do I know this person? Is she someone that I want to listen to? Like, that's it. Do I want to see what she has to say? So the thumb stop on this now doubles the amount of time that someone, or doubles the ability that someone may click here versus up here. And so the CTR on this can be up to 2%. That's really, really impactful, especially if, back up here to this, let me scroll out, if we're presenting these ads at awareness and problem and solution. So to make this really, really simple, you need a combination. If you have just one and you're just running static product ads, it better be pizza, because if not, no one's going to really take the time to understand or become aware of your product. And ROAS can also be lower, but again, if you're using it in conjunction, these combined together, you're going to get a winning combo. So all right, not going to spend any more time here. Let's come down and let's actually jump into what a framework is. So here's a framework. And this again is focused on this primary demographic, 45 to 55-year-old female. It can blend below that, it can blend above that, but this is a general demographic. All right, so thumb stop. This, as I mentioned, this makes the thumb stop on the scroll to at least hesitate to begin to consider what it is. This is when the ad's presented, the user stops scrolling with their thumb, giving your ad a chance to be viewed. The first, and this is something we've seen a lot on YouTube, is a high quality thumbnail overlay on your ad. So you may have an ad with UGC like this, but the thumbnail right at the start is highly visually appealing. Let me bring up an example. All right, so here's an example. This is an image overlaid as a thumbnail before the actual ad starts. And to a degree, we'll bring that into like a 1 to 3 second clip. This is an example of something that would be overlaid right there at the beginning. And then it goes into like the UGC where it's got the creator and it goes into the standard product. Now, what that does is it creates a framework for someone to stop the scroll because they're like, what is this in my screen? Next, and really all of these at the thumb stop are highly visual. You want to have customers using the product like right in the beginning. This up here is a clean example. This is a customer. This is a user showing themselves using the product in the very, very beginning, within the first second. And then I'm going to come down here because this ties directly into that. It shows the woman's face. Women traditionally want to see another woman's face in the beginning of the ad. Now, you'll notice this woman's face looks younger than our demographic. People, by and large, want and perceive themselves as looking a little bit younger than they actually are, a little bit more attractive than they actually are. So when you show another woman's face, it's disarming, right? This isn't someone, car salesman, trying to sell to me. That is an example of a framework for a thumb stop. Let's keep going. Next is creative brief. This is really the creative objective and outline for the ad. These are the top 3 that are working really well. So again, you're using all these in conjunction. All of this comes together to produce one piece of creative. Now you'll want to do multiple variations, you want to have different faces, so on and so forth, but this is all of what's combined in a framework for one ad. The first is reviewing. It's just honest opinion. So when we're up here and we've got this girl and she's producing this creative, she's giving her honest opinion. She's showing her face, she's hitting all the buttons, and she's saying, hey, honest opinion, I have all these problem solution, gut issues. I'm using this product to help with gut issues. Honest opinion, it's been awesome. Whatever the honest opinion is. Now, in scripting, we'll get into what they say, but right now it's giving their honest opinion in that creative. Next. All right, let's keep going. What is it, right? Let's answer that question. This is awareness. What are the features? What are the benefits? And a lot of times with this user-generated content, all it's going to do is say this. This is colostrum. Colostrum does this. It helps my stomach. Like, it's super stupid simple. But if you, again, ads are a relationship. In the beginning of the relationship, if you don't introduce yourself, say who you are, give your name, give some descriptors as to what you are, what the whole benefit of this relationship is, no one's really going to know. And you'd be surprised how many people go all the way through with multiple ads and they don't know what the product is, does, or any of the benefits for it. Number 2. Number 3, comparison to the popular alternative. typically we're walking into a space, we're advertising into a space that is already known, right? So if I type in any product, and I could pick absolutely any product, pizza, people automatically in their mind, and it's a great example, if I say think of a pizza, you're going to think of a brand. You're going to think of like Papa John's or Domino's or Little Caesar. There's a brand that pops up in your mind. The same thing happens for almost every single ad. I don't know of any products out there that don't have any form of competition. I'm sure there's a few, but there's competition. And so when you say a product that's popular or well-known, unless you're a primary creator, they're going to think of a popular alternative. You may not be able to compete with Papa John's and pizza. Let's say you're making pizza out of your own brick oven at your home, but when you're out here saying, compare this to the well-known alternative, right? We see Pepsi and Coke do this all the time. What you're doing is you're associating yourself with that alternative and presenting all your benefits. So the same thing goes down here in the framework. Now, what you don't want to do in this is you don't want to draw attention to a low or too close comparison, right? You don't want to make it like, wow, we're really competing with this brand. You want to go for the big brands. You want to go for the Coke. You want to go for the Pepsi. You want to go for the big alternatives and showcase your benefits to that. Because if they already have that premiere, well, oh, this is a popular alternative. So in creative briefing, again, 1, 2, 3. There's hundreds of these hooks. There's hundreds of thumb stops, but these are the top 3. Now let's go into scripting. Or actually, there's one other. This is quite simple, and I wouldn't say overthink it. Visually appealing background. So in the creative brief, the backgrounds are visually appealing. Let's go back over here to this one. This background, this is a lot of AI, is highly visually appealing, right? The background is visually appealing. It's got a great thumb stop. But if you look at the arc of this, the whole thing is highly visual. Like what you're doing is you're really breaking down what the benefits of this is with visual breakdowns that keep your eyes on it, because every 1 to 3 seconds, it's going to transition. So it's quick transition, keeps your eyes on it. You're like, this is kind of crazy. What is this talking about? But all it did is it make you aware of their product and introduced a problem solution. That's it. That's all it did. So, all right, back over here. Scripting. These are the 3 best to start with. A talking head. Talking head, again, is like this. It's a talking head. Next is going to be, let me scroll back down here. Next is creative voiceover, right? So this right here is a creative voiceover. Let me unmute this so you can hear.
Digestive system. Then she may notice less inflammation as it may eliminate toxins.
Creative voiceover with whatever is on the primary visual. And third is just subtitles. This really needs to be as a baseline for everything. Every single ad you have needs to have subtitles. Most people watch it on mute, but if the subtitles are really strong, highlighting, it does really well. All right, so without being too overkill, the big challenge at this point is begin to dissect your winning framework, right? And this is how you do it. You want to go through and bring together your best ad frameworks. Then you want to take these current best frameworks, and then you're going to live here in the middle. You're going to blend and create. There's a lot of ads that have high CTR, and there's a lot of ads that have high ROAS, but they don't always have the same. You want to blend and create, blend and create, blend and create, and then over time, your frameworks get better and better and better. So it's like learning how to ride a bike, right? The first time you rode a bike, you were terrible. You probably fell. The second time you did better. The third time you did better. By like the 4th, 5th time, like you're a pro, like you're cruising. The same thing goes for your ad frameworks. It takes practice, iteration, iteration, iteration. All right, so with that, I'm going to say these are the 3 to 4 first touch ads. Don't go to remarketing ads. You want to answer these questions. What is your initial thumb stop? Why? Right, I'll put that right here. Why? Why do you think you had a thumb stop? What's your thumb stop rate? What's your creative outline? Does it provide problem solution? Does it provide awareness? What is it doing in your creative outlines? Then what is the primary engaging demographic? And what's the primary scripting method? Bring all that together, cross and compare to what we have here, and then create. Create in the middle, because what you're doing likely is going to be a little bit distinct from all these brands. That's fine. But bring it together in a production, that way you can say this is how and what we're going to produce with 10, 15 pieces of creative. Should you do 1? No. Should you do 5? No. You should do like 10 to 15, because of the 10 to 15, your hit rate's going to be like 20% in the beginning. Then after you take the 20% of, let's say 10, 2 of them are going to hit, meaning they're going to do well. Then you iterate on those 2 and create 10 more variants of those 2. Then your hit rate's going to go from 20% to 40%. And then 4 of those are working. So now we've got 6 ads that are really cruising, that by the time you get to the big peak season, you've got 15 pieces of creative that are really dynamic and moving. All right, with that, here's the rest of the worksheet overview. Asked a lot of questions, very helpful for you to go through. I'm going to stop at this point, put the video at the start, and let you get to it.